Hello, dear friend. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. And of course, as always, a super warm welcome back to Lotus Life The Podcast. And this is a spot where we get to hang out each week, chatting about the fun in finding your path to happiness, how you can live your best life, find joy in even the smallest of things, and just embrace being the imperfectly perfect human being that you are. If you didn't know, the lotus plant has this beautiful flower that grows from muddy water, and this podcast, Lotus Life, is a celebration of, just embodying that, blooming even from the murkiest of conditions in life. I'm your host, Rose Tautari, and this episode is what I think I'm going to call the resilience episode. I'm hanging out here with you to chat about mindset, mental health, and resilience in the face of a world that has been turned completely the fuck upside down in the past weeks. I just really wanted to share with you 10 things that have helped me work through the uncertainty, the emotions that we're all experiencing, and just really navigating a time that is uncharted water for us as a collective across humanity in our lifetime, really. I'm only going to share with you what's been working for me personally, so there may be aspects here that you kind of nod along with and go, yep, that clicks for me. And then there'll be other parts that maybe just don't. And that's totally okay. I just want you to know it's fine for you to take what works and leave what doesn't. There's no judgment, no right or wrong, just a sharing and telling of stories as they are coming up for me, because that's the beautiful part of this process, is getting to still connect and share, even if it's only in a digital form right now. And while we're on that topic, I guess just how fucking grateful am I right now for the digital and social media space? I don't know about you, but it's been such an incredible tool and means of still connecting with loved ones and this community. So honestly, for me personally, I am so grateful and so thankful each morning when I get up, and I just extend that real deep sense of gratitude to you too. Lovely. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I just hope that maybe this episode has some little piece of goodness for you to take away with you today. So let's get into my 10 resilience topics. So number 1 really is taking care of your mindset and using the power of what I like to call the reframe. So there's a lot going on right now in the world that will understandably feel overwhelming, worrying, and for many people just downright frightening. And you know that in this space you are supported, and I am by no means ever going to downplay that. Your emotions and however you might be processing things right now are completely valid, and I just want you to know that. But what I will say that has been working for me is that in the moments when my thoughts have really spiraled, or that I've just allowed negative thinking to kind of set in, or when I haven't really taken the time to cultivate and nurture my own mindset, what I've done is I've used the reframe for that situation. So there's a lot of talk in the news, say, going on about the financial implication of the world right now, right? So financial security, it's a baseline concern for humanity as a collective. When you look at, say, Maslow's hierarchy of needs in the pyramid diagram of that, financial safety is there right after our basic physiological needs like water, sleep, food, etc. So you are definitely not alone if that is feeling like it's one of the most pressing needs for you right now. It's instinctive, it's a survival mechanism, and it's been hardwired into your DNA for good reason. So what I like to use in this sort of scenario is a reframe, which changes the way that I think about those things. And it just comes from an empowered place of knowing and understanding myself. So going back to the basics of understanding that money is just a construct. It's a made-up, created system, right? However many thousands of years ago that someone decided that we would exchange gold instead of beans or shells for something. And the whole world is being collectively shown that we don't need to be so caught up in the corporate consumerist culture that has been created over the years. Slowing life down, practicing minimalism, focusing on your internal happiness. That's kind of the point we're at right now. And this is also a kind of place where knowledge of your human design really empowers you, because it shows you how your design can feed into this incredible opportunity right now of creating a life that is truly unique to you and that lights you up every single day. So by understanding your own design, it's like the soul map that can help you as you navigate what your future might look like, even though it might feel really fucking uncertain right now. So whether that is for you looking like something like starting your own business or a side business on top of what you currently do that might bring you in extra income, doing something that you really love, or that it might even be developing a future life that is completely of your own creation. Think of all the millions and billions of people who have been working in jobs, and you might be one of these people that just suck the soul daily, right? So this time right now is the collective moment when the world has just pressed pause and can really get quiet to take stock. So the way I'm looking at it for me personally is there's no more influencers trying to sell you shit you don't need and to convince you to cosmetically look a certain way to be valid, or pressuring you to live a life or buy shit for your lifestyle that really isn't quite true to yourself. It's just an opportunity to all take a pause and get back to our true selves. So it's really a wonderful opportunity to look at what your unique talents and gifts are. There's going to be so much needed in the world that can be to do with those gifts that you have, whether that looks like creating art, creating books, helping other businesses in some capacity, just even something as beautiful as creating face painting tutorials online for children. Or, it might be that your gift right now is writing that novel that helps teenagers manage their anxiety. You might even be a skilled gardener, someone who's just got green fingers, and you grow a lot of your own produce at home, and now is your moment or opportunity to be able to teach someone else how they could grow their own herbs in a pot on their balcony if they don't have a garden and they live in an apartment block, or, to teach someone how they can actually go about making their own compost from their food scraps. Maybe your talent is going to be teaching other mums how to make nutritious meals that their kids will love, or teaching mums that want to organize their pantry so they're able to use up all those random pantry staples that they've got sitting around and create meals when they're spending most of their time freaking the fuck out that they can't go out and buy the usual foods that they would buy to feed their family. So really that power of taking something and reframing it in a positive way, that's one of my first primary tools that I'm using right now. Taking what at a first glance might seem negative and turning it into some sort of positive, looking for the reframe. So number 2 is being gentle with yourself. And this for me is huge right now, because obviously, within mere days, life has completely changed so dramatically. So if you're finding things tough or stressful, I can really, really vouch for this, that adding the phrase, "and that's okay," onto the end of your thoughts or things you might be saying, it's a fucking game changer. So, for example, let's say you've been feeling like, because you let your kids have way more screen time yesterday than you would normally let them, and they're being a bit assholey today, and you were kind of getting caught up in that thought pattern of like, oh my God, it's my fault because I let them have more screen time, and so they're really off the walls today. Take it back and go, I let my kids have way more screen time than usual yesterday, and that's okay. just take away that judgment and that kind of like self-criticism and just add on, and that's okay. And just feel how that kind of just lets your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, and your breathing to just like chill the fuck out for a moment. You know, maybe it's, you know, maybe you don't have kids and maybe you're struggling with routines like your own around exercise, food and eating. Like your routine's suddenly been disrupted. Your daily dose of friendship or sanity or connection feels as if it's just been like suddenly lopped off and taken away from you. And maybe it's just like simply the fact that you're freaking out because you ate all the snacks that you bought for that was supposed to last a week, and you ate them all within the space of 2 days. And that's okay. For so many of us, there's still this like sneaky underlying, I guess in this topic particularly, like underlying diet culture, weight stigma that's still like hidden away, tucked away there in our subconscious brains. And that starts to creep back in during times of stress and uncertainty. And you are certainly not alone if you're feeling that way. And if that's something you're struggling with, I'll pop some links in the show notes with some fantastic spaces where you can get support around this situation right now if this kind of time is bringing up issues around food and exercise and body image, because you're definitely not the only one. There's millions of other people feeling the same way. One quick glance at Instagram and you can see that it's a topic that is really triggering for a lot of people. And just remember that you and everyone else around you are doing the best they can right now. And yes, I'm talking about even that person that you don't agree with or that's frustrating the fuck out of you right now. Like, just tell yourself they're doing the best they can. Or if you catch yourself saying to yourself, I am so sick of this situation right now, and that's okay. And just like, you know, just take that time to step back and just witness your own emotion around the situation, allow it to change, and just shift it to a place of compassion for not just yourself, but other people. So kind of rolling on from that, and in saying that maybe you're finding that you're seeing things from people that are online that are triggering you or frustrating you. My third tip here is to just pause that thought and even pause this episode right now and go unfollow, mute, hide posts from anyone or any account that has given you anxiety or that has left you feeling worse after seeing their post. Like, not just as in feeling sad or anxious, but maybe you've read their post and got angry or like wound up because they're sharing information that you're considering that's false or dangerous or triggering. So just for your own sake, please go do this right now or go do this straight after this episode. Like, I cannot tell you how important this has been for me, like not even just in this particular time, but well before. Like, you guys who've been following me for a while know that I am such a stand for unfollowing anything that is not good for your mental health, or anyone, I should say. But especially since understanding my own human design as a projector, but not just a projector, like a mental projector, which means that I have a whole lot of open centers and open chakras in my body and my energetic being. And so the unfollow and the hide features on social media have been my biggest tools and my biggest champions to help my own mindset with having all that openness and that undefined centers that you might have also in your chart. This basically, when you do have those, it leaves you exposed to a lot more of taking in of the energy of others. So, yep, that means even through screens and the internet. It doesn't just have to be in person. So it's really important that if you've got that openness, that you have really strong boundaries or a process for discharging what you take on that isn't yours, like the stuff that you've absorbed from everyone else around you. You've got to have a really good way of discharging that, because otherwise you're just sitting there with a whole lot of stuff that you've absorbed from others that is not yours to hold on to, doesn't serve you, and you don't need it. And then equally, when you've got defined centers or defined chakras in your energetic body, this basically means that you've got the ability to be way more consistent with that particular part of yourself and your soul, and you're far more self-sufficient in that particular chakra or part of your design. So basically what that means is that you won't be as affected by outside influences. And so you might know someone where like they don't get affected by something and you do, and this is the kind of reason why. So, and this is also where once you understand your own human design or have your chart read, for example, you can just be so empowered to know whether this is a brilliant tool for you, like just going through and unfollowing or muting or hiding, or, you know, that process of just decluttering your social media feeds because that's what you need right now to get rid of the just maybe like one or two things that were affecting you. Or in the case of if you've got a whole lot of really open centers or you're completely open, you might, like, the best thing for you might even look like going off social media full stop if that's what's going to serve you the best, or only following accounts of like dogs, for example, because that makes you smile. You know, whatever is best for you right now, just take that bold action to do it and look after yourself as the first priority. Who the fuck cares? Like, you're not missing anything by not following particular celebrities or influencers right now, because they ain't up to anything. No one's doing nothing right now. So just put yourself as the first priority. There's no FOMO right now. No one's missing out. And just remember, it doesn't have to be forever either. So if it is going to work best for you that you unfollow someone or you take a break from social media altogether, you can always go back, and you can always go back to following them, or you can always go back to using social media whenever you feel like you're ready for that, or that you've given yourself, just once you've given yourself that pause that was so needed and so necessary. So, number 4 now, we're going to talk about your core vibration. And for any of you that have been hanging out with me, following me for a while, you know that this is a really big part of my life that I work on, and it's a daily practice. A lot like, say, a daily meditation practice to cultivate and nurture my core vibration. That's why I'm on my stories filming like my stupid dance parties I have in my office before I like record a podcast or get on a call with someone. It's why I take heaps of photos and like videos of the stupid stuff the dogs do, or like the weird things they're doing sitting next to me on the couch while I'm working, or you know, the videos of like going down to the beach and that stuff that's really like just nurturing my vibration in a really positive way. Like, that's why I share all that stuff, because it's stuff that is so important to me and my vibration, and that's why I share it. So my mentor Jackie Sieve is the bomb.com at explaining how important your vibration is in your day-to-day life. So I'll definitely link up in the show notes as well, where you can watch some of her videos, because she is way better at explaining this than I am. That's her gift in this world, but I'll try and do my best right now. Don't at me if I get some of this a little bit kooky, because I'm just kind of winging it. But essentially, your core vibration goes back to quantum physics, which, I know we're getting into good stuff here, right? But basically, it's the laws of physics around the fact that everything in our universe is connected by vibration and energy. So put it this way, the fact that your phone that you might be listening to this podcast on right now, for example, your phone is a collection of atoms that are all hanging out together, vibrating at the same frequency, which means they attract each other. The like atoms attract each other at that frequency, and they get together to form a physical object that you can see with your eyes, because there's light bouncing off those atoms that are all hanging out tightly packed together, vibrating away, right? And similarly, your body is a collection of atoms hanging out together, vibrating at the same frequency, like all holding hands, having a little party. And you get the picture, right? So everything in this universe at a cellular and atomic level, every single thing is energy vibrating. And your core vibration in each of your cells and molecules in your body is the powerful vibration that you put out that attracts the same frequency and vibration from the outside world towards you. So essentially, your vibe literally attracts your tribe. When you've got those days where you start off in like a super foul feeling mood, and then everything that can go wrong from the start of the day will go wrong, or when you look back on something that happened and you say to yourself, like, I just knew that was going to go wrong, you know, or on the flip side, in the positive high vibration version, when you are feeling just like super bright and sparkly and wonderful, you have all these magical experiences that happen, right? So the right people just happen to show up when you need. You think about that person that you love and adore, and then you go and check your social media and there's a message there from them unexpectedly. Or how when the days when you're like laughing and singing in your car, there's always a free park just right where you need it to be, right? So the vibration of your cells on a frequency that is positive and high on the energetic scale will literally rearrange the universe that surrounds you. Now, this might be a whole lot of woo for you right now if you haven't got into a lot of this, but trust me, now more than ever is the time to just take care of your mind and your core vibration. Like, just get on down with whatever lights you up and makes you feel happy, high vibration and positive, because you will literally emit that message out into the space and the universe around you. And I'm talking like space, like the physical space around you, right? And attract more of that positivity and good vibration towards you. And fuck, like we all could need some good vibration being attracted towards ourselves right now, right? So for me, how I nurture and cultivate that vibration, my morning routine is crucial. And you know, I'll be the first to put my hand up and admit that in the past week, with disruptions to how my life usually looks, my morning routine has changed a little bit. It's still really focused on just nurturing and keeping that foundation vibration high for myself. I maintain it mostly with using gratitude, writing out what I'm thankful for. You guys know I'm all about journaling, and I know it's not for everyone, but it's something that I really have found is so useful for me. And it just really comes down to, like, at its core, listing out simple things that I'm really grateful for each day. I also write down each morning and repeat positive affirmation statements, which is using the phrase I am at the start of each sentence, which speaks into existence that positivity that I am creating every single day. So good example would be something like, I am unique and that is my superpower. That's one that I really love using for myself most days. And another is something along the lines of, I am calm, I am centered, I am grounded. You know, just really simple stuff, but it brings back to the core vibration what I am wanting to nurture about myself, and that what I am choosing to nurture about myself. Other things for me, I also get my essential oils going in my diffuser each morning, which are excellent supports for my limbic system in my brain, which is essentially the center that governs emotion within your brain. Which at the moment I definitely feel, I know I can use a whole lot of extra TLC with right now. And like I was saying before, like I get out in nature every day with my dogs, seeing them just have fun, chasing a tennis ball, you know, like the look of delight on their faces, and feeling the sand on my bare feet. You know, it always just helps me let go of anything negative I might have been holding on to, like in my energetic body or within my mind. Yeah, so those are the really like the basics for me, the like non-negotiables to keep my vibration high. So that would be like the bare minimum that I would do, and probably is around about the average of what I've been doing in the last week or so, with a few disruptions and changes. But Say when I'm in my normal routine, I would do all of those non-negotiables, but I would always spend a lot more time journaling, meditating to a guided meditation, and, just sitting and talking to the universe, right? And I know that might sound a bit like, what the fuck? But, for you, that might look like praying, or it might look like connecting with spirit or source or whatever is your connection to something bigger, like going for a hike up a mountain and standing there and just being at the top, seeing like that sweeping view below you, or, it's just that process of grounding yourself, calming yourself, and whatever that might look like for you. So, and it's just so needed that we're all cultivating those parts of our lives in a time like this. So if you don't have a routine like this, I would definitely say start small. Work out what helps you feel good and build on it. So it doesn't have to, I get really I guess, I don't know what the right word is here, but it doesn't have to look like it's super spiritual, woo-woo, meditate-y, Zen garden. If that's not you, that's okay. I've got a really good friend. Yoga is not her fucking thing, and she owns it, and she is I don't fucking care. Yoga is not for me. So don't feel like just because maybe there's a whole sweeping world of Instagram people telling you that you should be saging your sacred space and then spending an hour meditating while the birds chirp outside. If that's not for you, that's okay. Just, I would recommend just work out what helps you feel good. So that's the starting point. So whatever gets you feeling lit up and amazing is a really good go-to, and especially at a time like this when you just need to feel good. That's the most important thing. So, and I would definitely recommend getting in something in place that works from the moment you get out of bed, because that helps to set the tone for the rest of the day. So I know a lot of people often ask me, can I do a routine like this at night? Or can I do it during later in my day because my mornings actually aren't so good? And I just kind of say if you can do something or a collection of small things to start your day from the minute you get out of bed, that's my best kind of advice for how to raise your vibration and nurture your vibration, because then it sets the tone for the rest of your day. So at the moment, if even all you can manage is to get out of bed, your feet hit the floor, and you crank Beyonce and dance around the house while you get the kids their breakfast and deal to their needs, so be it, but just start somewhere. Okay, let's move on to number 5. So you might have heard the saying about meditation that if you don't have time to meditate, or if you don't think you have time to meditate for 10 minutes a day, then you need to practice meditation for 20 minutes each day. You'll have heard me talk a lot about meditation in this space, and I know from my own personal experience that this is something that can be really easy to ignore, or to go yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, or whatever, it's not even a thing. But honestly, meditation is just so important, but it's just such a simple tool to use for your mindset and just calming your entire nervous system. It's just hard to kind of put into words the importance of it. Plus it's free, right? You can do it anywhere and at any time. There's literally no harm in trying it on, right? That's kind of what I come back to when I talk about this to people. You might have heard, I guess, about the term neuroplasticity, which in short means that the brain can learn to rewire itself. And that's where meditation goes a really long way towards helping you to rewire new connections, new patterns, to create lasting positive transformation within your brain. Or simply, you could just describe it as nurturing and cultivating a mind that is free from disturbance, such as you might think of when you look at someone who has dedicated their life to being a yogi or a monk or a lama, just someone who has spent their life dedicated and in pursuit of developing their meditation practice and their just power of training their mind. And just really to remember that meditation also incorporates mindfulness. So if you're not a meditator or you find it really hard to even just think about sitting down to meditate, like mindfulness is a really good place to start. So just that, developing that sense of overall well-being. There are so many ways that it impacts all the other places in your life. Like I've got really good friends who've said, like basically mindfulness and meditation, it just helps me to be a better mother because I am a much happier person by doing it. And so the immediate impact is that I'm a better mother to my kids because I've taken those couple of minutes to practice mindfulness or meditation during my day. So in the case of, say, cultivating mindfulness rather than necessarily sitting down to meditate in the classic sense, it's just the power of remaining in the now, right, with each step that you take during your day. So really good example of this is like how many times, say, you've driven home from somewhere and it wasn't until you actually put the car into park and pulled on the handbrake once you got home that you suddenly have that like moment where you like drop into reality and you're like, fuck, I don't actually remember driving home, right? So that's when our brains are completely at the opposite end of the mindfulness spectrum. Like we're so preoccupied and living in another realm. So where mindfulness comes in is it's a way in which you can practice actually staying present in the moment of what you're doing. And that's where almost like every moment in your life can become a meditative moment. So say tonight, if you're doing the dishes, for example, you choose to focus on the bubbles as they appear on the plate that you're washing, the rainbow on the outside of the bubble. You might focus in on the movement of the dish brush as it moves in circles around the plate. Just even that process of dunking the plate back in the water several times before you move it onto the draining board. Just training your brain to stay focused and calm in the moment, in the now, with what you're doing. You might also, if you are learning and growing and kind of trying this on, you might find success with guided meditations. Or you might prefer to put on some meditative music and simply just still your mind. Another really good example is you might even just prefer to lie down and relax your mind as well as your body, which if you've ever gone to a yoga class and found yourself drifting off during Shavasana while lying down on your mat at the end of the class, you will know all too well that deep meditative moment. And again, going back to how this interacts with human design is that there are clues as to where you might need the most support when it comes to meditation. And just using myself as an example, I find that guided meditation works really well for me because I have an open head center or chakra. And so having the guided meditation where it leads me through the process is excellent for me because my head is a really noisy, fucking chattery place, and that tends to be like where my head is at. So having the guided meditation is excellent for me. Whereas for someone with a defined head center or chakra, they might actually not have that constant stream of internal talk going on. But say, for example, their physical body might be where the part of them that struggles with the stillness and the meditation process or practice. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I just encourage you to start somewhere, give it a try, start simple, like start literally with 2 minutes and then build it up gradually. if you've not done it before and you see all these people that keep going on about like 20-minute meditations or hour meditations or whatever, like, don't even worry. Like, just start with 2 minutes. That's all. Like, you'll see benefit from even that. If you can build up to more, fucking amazing. Like, that is awesome, but just start small. And just remember, it's a muscle. Like, it really is like a muscle to develop and work on. I'll also, with this episode, link up some great getting started meditation resources that I've found useful, and see if they might be something that might work for you. Okay, so number 6, really, how do I put this? Number 6 is a tool to do with what I consider the scourge of our hustle, do more, busy society. Productivity. Number 6 is just short and sweet as a tip. Basically, it is you don't have to be productive. Fuck that shit. If all you are doing right now is surviving for the next little while, that is okay, my love. Forget about the pace that the world was going on before. Forget about all that hustle, do more, be busy mentality. Ignore every fucking post on social media about using this time to create and develop and to do and to be and to, just forget it all. If that's not calling to your soul, ignore it. Chances are your soul needs rest and recharge time, and that is okay. Right, number 7. A second part to this for number 7 is that you are under zero obligation to do at-home workouts, eat clean, eat healthy, meal prep, etc., etc., etc. Do what you know is good for your soul, coming from a place of gentle, loving heart. Do it from a place of enjoyment, right? Like, love your body, nourish your body, nurture your body from a place of enjoyment and love, not a place of punishment or restriction. If Susan is getting her HIIT workout from her living room and posting sweaty selfies twice a day, that's fucking wonderful for Susan. But don't let it eat away at you if you're not feeling like you want to be turning your lounge into a sweat box every day. Like, literally, for me, and what works for me, I'm walking my dogs and getting fresh air on my face daily because I feel like that's the most important thing for me right now. I know I probably need to stretch more. I probably need to do more yoga because I'm well out of my routine, but those things can happen when the time is right. So I just really encourage you to tune into yourself, listen to what your soul needs. If that is movement, that's incredible. And hey, like, you manifesting generators and generators who need to wear out your sacral chakra, your sacral energy that you've got going on for you, and for the manifestors that need to discharge all that manifesting energy you've got bursting at the seams every day, then that's totally fucking awesome. And this is where being empowered by your human design to know what you need is such a fantastic tool when it comes to your unique design. But also don't forget that just because you might be a certain design or an energy being, that actually doesn't mean that you don't need rest, right? Like, you still need rest just like everyone else. So just really my best advice there is just go back to the center of it, where as long as you are taking good care of yourself, however that looks like for you is what is right for you. Just ignore what the rest of the world might be doing or saying or being. Like, take good care of yourself. And that's from a holistic, like, wheel of life point of view. Like, it doesn't just, taking care of yourself doesn't just have to be to do with nutrition and exercise. There are so many other fucking layers to it. So as long as you are taking good care of yourself for what your soul needs, you're all good. Okay, number 8 for me personally, and I touched on this just now really, is grounding in nature and fresh air. It is honestly perfectly fine if that is all you kind of aim to do right now, right? If literally just getting some sun on your skin, taking a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth slowly. If it looks like walking or standing out on the grass in bare feet for 10 minutes, maybe like cuddling one of your kids. If getting onto the sand and feeling the sand between your toes for a few minutes each day. Just those really simple grounding techniques that allow your soul to connect with Mother Earth and nature. It's just like undescribably super important. And I know that this comes from a place of incredible privilege for myself, that I live in a rural beachside location, so it is easy for me. I've got grass in my own backyard. I'm only a few hundred meters from the beach. And we're in a very rural environment. And so I know that when I say this, it comes from a place of privilege. And so this is why I'm kind of saying this with love and heart for any of you that are struggling to feel like you're connected to that right now. So I understand if it maybe feels like it's not possible, if it feels like it's been restricted from you. I think it's really just coming back to a place of doing what you can, doing the best you can. So if it just looks like being able to have all your windows open and be able to stand in a beam of sunlight coming through the window, or like if it's drizzling outside, to open that window and feel that air and that moisture and just that kind of freshness that comes with rain, that connection to Mother Nature, it can be meditative. It can be just a process of you taking 5 to reset, right, during your day, slowing down. Like whatever it looks like for you right now, whatever you've got to do right now, you get to take complete power and ownership of what feels best for you. And I would just totally encourage you to give whatever you can a try if you aren't already. So if you are in a situation where you've got some grass outside your house, use it. Like go out and spend 5 minutes with bare feet, standing on the grass, on the soil, like just that connection. I don't know. It might feel really weird if you're not a bare feet person. I try and get away with bare feet as much as possible during my day, but although as it gets colder, my slippers are definitely my BFFs, so I can totally understand if it's not your thing right now. But try for some part of your day to get your bare feet directly in contact with nature in whatever way, shape or form that can be for you right now. There's just a certain magical, indescribable aspect to it for your soul, and your soul will just soak it up. Second to last, number 9 is connection. And this is a really obvious one, so I'm not going to kind of like bang on this drum for ages because you might already be doing this, but connection. Connect to the people in your life, right? You might not be able to physically do it, but make use of the tools at your disposal. Start that group chat with your group of friends if you don't already have one, and start posting regularly. Like I think we kind of sometimes get a bit like locked into our own lives, and we feel like if we are, I know for me, like I've often felt like if I'm posting every day, like saying hi, I'm annoying people or whatever. But don't feel like that in this time, like particularly in this time. Post regularly, like keep in touch. Like you will never know how much someone on the other end of that message might need to hear from you right in that moment. Check in on people. I love how to put this. Okay, Gabby Bernstein, one of my mentors, like I absolutely love, she's got this approach that she's talked about a lot, that in her teachings where she talks about that sense of, if you're ever feeling helpless in your life, reach out to help someone else. It's such a balm for the soul and is just a really incredible way to turn something that might be painful or challenging or emotional for you, and to go and share love with someone else is just such a healing, magical process. So, like, obviously right now for a lot of people, you can't physically go and do it, but if you're feeling stuck, helpless, insecure, emotional, I just really encourage you to not dismiss those emotions, but use that and go and check in on someone else. And then you open that just powerful connection and love and relationship that is so important, and it is so necessary in times like this. Okay, we've got through 1 to 9, and number 10, just lastly, what I'm going to do in this part is it's kind of going to cover a lot of ground, but for number 10, my little tip is really focused on a few tips, really, from our little family on being at home all day with your partner and kids or your loved ones. And, you know, because for us in our life, this is kind of life as usual. But for a lot of you, I know it might be weird, it might be clunky, it might be awkward. And if you're not used to it, like, it could really be a mind fuck, because it's like something that you did not sign up for in your day-to-day life or did not choose that has been enforced on you. So while for us it's something we have consciously chosen in our day-to-day life, with Darren and I both working from home, both working together for about the last 4 years from home together, and then within the last 8 months, homeschooling Amaru, who's 14. So, and added to that, we do tiny living, right? We don't have a very big house at all. So we are well versed in all being within a space together all day long. So I just thought for number 10, I will just share a few little things that have really helped us in creating a home environment that is so much more harmonious than it ever was before we were living life like this. So I just feel might work for you, might not. You might get to halfway through this and go like, nah, none of this applies to us. You don't know what you're talking about. But hopefully there might be something in here that might just resonate for you. So firstly, within number 10 here, I'll just say that this is one of the ways in which human design can be just such a game changer for families in particular, because when you know each other's types, especially as, say, partners knowing each other's type, or with your children knowing your type, and how you all interact on an energetic level of understanding, that is just so fucking powerful. So rather than feeling like, oh my fucking God, this person is doing my head in, you can go, okay, that person is a manifesting generator, and they need to be able to burn off all this fucking mental pent-up energy that I can't understand, and all this frustration that they've got going on. So let's plan for ways to cater to their needs as well as my own needs. So that's just a really simple example of how understanding on a soul level what all the different types are and how they interact within your family unit or your, collection of loved ones, it is just so empowering and has made such a difference to us in our lives. Like, before we knew, so for the three of us, we are all projectors. So we all now understand what we all need as projectors and all our different nuances within being projectors. And it also means that if you throw somebody else into that dynamic who is an energy type, that it completely changes how we are all interacting with each other. So it's been really empowering. It's been super helpful. So that's my first like mini tip within this section. The next one would be to remember that it is okay for others to have their own rhythm. So just because you maybe like to get up in the morning and have the kitchen spotless and tidy and gleaming, just remember that your loved ones, like say for example your partner, might not have that same rhythm, right? They might like to get up and make breakfast first and then tidy up everything once they've eaten. So it's kind of all about just recognizing that we have our own rhythm. We each have our own rhythm going on, and no one in particular is more important than the other. Even if you might feel like yours is the way, the best way, the only way, just take that deep breath and go, actually, you know what? Other people are allowed to have their way as well. Even if everything in you is like screaming that like, no, my way or the highway. Just remember that other people have their own rhythm, and the more that you can just kind of go, yeah, that's cool. We can all have our own rhythm, and we just work out how we all dance around each other and harmonize with each other within that. That's where you can really start to have more of a just chill environment, right? Because you're not fighting that rhythm and like clashing. Definitely within this is to make your days fun. And by saying fun, I mean on an energetic vibrational level, right? So going back to that nurturing and cultivating your vibration. So for us, what I know works really well for us is that like from first thing when we all get up is we put on music. We fill the house with feel good vibration. That's like a key thing that we have just going like all day long. We all get to take turns with like what music we put on. And we just make sure that we're feeling good with whatever is playing. You know, it might be that you get up and after you've done that, you light some incense, or you might put on essential oils like I do. Definitely like open up the windows, like just it gets that feel good vibration going from the very start of the day, gets the energy moving around in a really positive way, gets rid of anything that's like stagnant or feels like cluttered or dull or, you know, yuck going on in the house. And you'll just be amazed, at how it like clicks everyone onto that same high vibration playing field. And that's just been such a key part of how we really just work together, like to start out the way we mean to carry on for our days. And we really notice the difference when we don't do those really simple things to start our day. So next would be what happens when things don't quite go to plan during the day. So next tip is if you lose your cool, because chances are you probably will, and that's okay, forgive yourself. Like, no one is perfect. We are all just fucking imperfectly perfect human beings, right? So first step is like, yeah, just forgive yourself. And then the best advice that I can give from my own experience is to be really open about it, right? Like, let's say you lose it at your kids. The best thing you can do once you do, like, and everyone's had their chance to come back to a place of middle ground on the emotional spectrum, is just like straight up apologize. Let them know you made a mistake and that it's okay to make mistakes, and then ask them to start over. You know, something as simple as, hey, I really didn't mean for things to go that way, and I'm sorry. Can we please wipe that, scratch that, and start over again? Like, you'll just be amazed at how powerful it is for sitting there and just sticking your hand up and being like, fuck, mate, like, let's just start over. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't intend for it to go down that track. And it just teaches kids particularly that it's okay to reset. Like, it doesn't have to stay locked into that for the rest of eternity, right? Like, it's okay to take a breath, take a step back and go like, okay, we're starting again. That's something that's really been powerful for us. And, you know, it might work for you, it might not, but it's something we've really found useful in our house. Next little tip is keep the communication flowing, even when it feels tough. So when I say we are a family of projector types within human design, we also are, I guess, as is quite often the case with projectors, like we are not particularly good at vocalizing when it comes to needs and emotions. So, and this is often connected to your throat chakra and your ability to either like express coherently or like without feeling clumsy, stuff that's going on for you. So when I say keep the communication flowing, even when it's tough, I really mean it. It takes practice, but it's so crucial. So it's especially about the stuff that we as a collective around the world typically struggle to talk about when times are tougher, and pretty much like the number one thing that's going to be tough to talk about is going to be something like money. So yeah, all I can really suggest is keep that communication flowing and open, and like get ahead of any potential parts where it's going to get even harder to talk about it. Like just, okay, for example, I have a system now where I call a little meeting each week where Darren and I both grab our coffee and sit together in a nice little sunny spot, like mid-morning, when we're both in a really good place energetically, and we go over money-related things, right? So we talk about income, we talk about expenses, we talk about things that are good, we talk about things that are tough, we talk about things that we're kind of like expecting to come up or have just been. And I've given it like a fun name, so it's not like this real like, oh my God, we have to sit and have this conversation. It's like something fun, like, or as fun as it can be, right? So in our case, I call it our rich bish meetings, because that's my fun little energy I want to bring to the conversation, like as we build our way, in my mind, to becoming rich bishes. So it's just something that I've given it a fun name, and I just say, come on, grab your coffee, we're having our rich bish meeting, and then we sit and have our little conversation. So keep the communication flowing. Whatever it is that's tough, make sure you talk about it. Make sure you get it out in the open, because there is no point just trying to like pretend that it's not there or that you don't want to talk about it because it's hard. Because at the end of the day, you're always going to have a conversation about it. Okay, next one kind of actually quite good, seamlessly rolls on from that. A little bit along the lines of communication is be honest about your own needs. Spell it out. Set your boundaries. Ask for what you need. It's just like, it sounds really super simple, but it can be fucking hard to do. And often, like women particularly, we forget to do this in our life. Yeah, so that's a really simple but useful tip that I've found, and I often found I need to remind myself of time and time again, and that also comes into also reminding myself that no one is a mind reader. Like, I will often, and have in the past, wear the burden of trying to fix everything, trying to solve everything for everyone. At the moment, you most likely are going to be running around taking care of a lot of other people's needs. And I definitely I can tend to do this. I can lean towards doing this at my own expense, but I just often have to step back and take stock and remember that those around me cannot read my mind. And if I don't actually communicate what I need and when I need it, then I cannot expect other people to just magically know. And so even though I might be able to do other things for them thanks to my design, so like I have this like inherent knowing of what others need thanks to my nature and my projector nature particularly, Like, yeah, all I can say is just remember to spell it out. Never assume anything, and remember to ask for what you need. It's so important when you're in close like quarters with each other all the time. Like, just don't assume that because you can see what someone needs that they can do the same thing for you. It's not their fault. It just usually is inherently that in their design and their soul, they might not actually be able to see it in the same way you can. So just be honest, just be open, just be upfront about your own needs. And then my last two little mini subset tips here is really kind of kid focused. So for anyone freaking out right now about having their kids at home, the best advice I can give, if you're panicked about this or feeling like you are suddenly responsible for homeschooling, please, please, please take a deep breath. Remember that this too shall pass, even though it might feel like it's fucking never going to pass, but just remember it shall pass eventually. And remember that your kids every year survive at least 8 weeks of summer holidays, if not more, without becoming illiterate or becoming a vegetable. Cut your kids some slack. Think about how life is just one big classroom. Chances are your kid has probably absorbed a whole lot of stuff energetically in the last few weeks anyway, so they probably need some chill out time as much as you do. And then really, if you are thinking like, how am I going to be kind of like maintaining some sort of order in this shit show of having my kids at home, I would just say, like, use your daily life as the classroom. Don't try and bring the classroom into the home. Just use your daily life as some sort of classroom. Kids do not have to learn by sitting at a desk. Like, that's definitely one of the biggest things and one of the biggest reasons for us that we chose homeschooling. For most of our little people, they actually aren't wired to learn by sitting at a desk and sitting still in the traditional school system that you might have experienced when you were younger. And for those of you with kids, you'll know this, like, they can often absorb more in 5 minutes sometimes with something that really grabs them and interests them than they might in like a whole 8-hour day at school learning. And that is absolutely fine. Like, they don't have to sit for ages and ages doing stuff that's educational. Like, they can sometimes pick stuff up so quickly and they'll learn more in 5 minutes than they might in an entire day of going to like a museum, for example, right? Use your life as the classroom. Like, things like get them involved in like budgeting for household shopping. If you're looking at prices of stuff online, they can help with that. Doing chores around the house is even like helping them learn. It's life skills. Organizing the kitchen, cooking, researching answers to questions that they have on YouTube. You know, if you feel like your kids are like constantly hounding you with questions about, but why, mummy, why is this the way it is? Like, we're now at a point in my house that Amaru knows that if he wants to find out the answer to something, most of the time I am going to say to him, that's a really great topic for you to research. And it probably drives him fucking insane, but he has done so much research going off and been empowered to learn on his own. So that's something that I can really just, share, that they will all grow and learn as independent human beings, and you're just helping them along that journey, right? And remember that your life as well will undoubtedly have slowed down a lot too. So it's actually okay to take all day to just do one thing with them. Like, there is no hurry right now. And just lastly, in this kind of like mini section from my own personal experience, chill about screen time. Like, unusual times mean you are probably going to have to adapt to a slightly different harmony within your home life.
But all I can just suggest and offer that we've found works for us is to just really focus in on what works for you, do what works for you, rather than ruining your own mental health, trying to stick to your normal life rules. And I'm making little like air quotation marks here of what normal life would usually have been like. And like, talk to your kids about it, right? Like, they'll be way more aware than you probably even realize. Like, especially if, say, for example, you usually have really tight timelines, have a chat with them about why for a temporary period those guidelines and rules are more flexible. And then once life goes back to, normal, that's when those usual boundaries will kick back in again. Like, just remember, you're not a failure as a parent for using these devices to give yourself a little bit of a breather and some much needed time out and time to yourself, which you need right now. So those are my 10 tips. I hope there was something in there that might have been useful for you. I am going to always stick my hand up and say I am by no means perfect. I have my good days and my not so hot days, and hell, that is why I work with a coach myself, because that gives me the grounding and the outlet to be able to go to someone when I have my freak out moments, and that person is just immediately able to support me and hold, just a mirror back up for me to be able to recognize where I've gotten off track. Or to be able to kind of see where I've neglected a part of my own self nurturing and nourishment. And then it just means that, I can quickly course correct, get back to where I know I am choosing to be centered, to be grounded, and to be staying in my vision and purpose. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments or days when things aren't so high vibe, but it also doesn't mean that it takes me so much to be able to bounce back now, when I have a moment that's gotten off track. So yeah, just really that the world might, I guess, like what I'm coming through for me is that, the world might end up looking different to what it has in our past reality, and it might be different for the next year or possibly even more, but that doesn't mean that the world will no longer have a use for your magic, for your art, for your creativity, for your beauty. So just really let's keep sharing, keep spreading that magic and that positivity and developing your individual genius to keep it shining brightly in this time. I'm here. I'm navigating this time right alongside you, love. If you want to jump in my DMs and chat, I'm here. If you want to send me memes, I'm here for that too, because I am loving so many of them going around right now. If you're wanting to dive into human design and jam on that with me, where I absolutely love to froth and geek out on, just analyzing charts, talking about your purpose, your direction, sun signs, moon signs, helping you get started on your human design journey, then definitely make sure to come and chat with me. Or just even if you're wanting a really good place to start because this is new to you, you can go on my website, you can click on, there's a section up on the top that will say start here. Or if you'd rather pop a podcast episode in your ear holes, then there's an episode from a few weeks back that's called, I think it's Introduction to Human Design. I think you'll love. So yeah, just we're in this together, lovely, and I know we will come out the other side stronger than ever. See you on the next episode.